So today I thought I'd show you my everyday makeup look. I've been wearing this throughout this winter. I'm very pale. I haven't seen the sun, I think, for about 2 years now. So the only colour I'll be adding really will be through my cheeks and a little bit of eye colour. And as you know, I use mineral foundations and mineral makeups on the whole to do with my allergy problems. So I'm going to start by saying that I have moisturised my skin with this, which is CeraVe PM moisturiser. It's really, really light and absorbs really well into the skin. And if you're going to be using mineral foundations, you really, really do need to moisturise your skin as a sort of primer. And I did that about 20 minutes ago so that it's not sticky anymore. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of concealer because I've got a bit of bags under my eyes, and I've also got, you probably see a little bit of eczema there and a few little red patches which I'd quite like to cover up. So I'm using Lily Lolo and the colour is China Doll. Lily Lolo. And I've got it in a tiny little pot, which I find really helpful for doing concealer. And it's exactly the same as any other mineral foundation. I'm going to put a tiny bit in the lid. Tiny bit in the lid. And I'm going to swirl around my normal concealer brush. This is an Eco Tools concealer brush. So you pick up all of the colour into the brush, and then I'm going to pat it in under my eyes. It's the same kind of motion as you would use for the foundation, so you're buffing, but obviously this is a very small brush, so you have to do slightly smaller movements. So I'm going to pat it in under my eye. And under the other eye. Have another little swirl. Swirl. Now when I have little patches like this, when I do have patches of eczema, you kind of need to give them a little bit more moisturiser than I would of the rest of my face. So I actually dabbed on a tiny bit of a slightly thicker moisturiser because otherwise that area is going to flake. I know that's going to happen, so I need to keep an eye on it. I would always put concealer as well around my nose and then these lines here, because I know they can get a little bit shadowy later on. And a little bit on my chin. Okay, so I'm now going to move on to my main foundation. So this is again Lily Lolo, and the colour is Blondie, which is pretty pale, but it has a slightly peachy undertone, which makes me feel a little bit warmer. Otherwise I tend to look a little bit ill all winter. So I'm tapping it into the lid. Not too much, that is plenty. And I've got my kabuki brush. I bought this off Amazon. It's Lydia Professional. I bought it because it was fairly inexpensive. And swirling it, picking up all of the colour into the brush. So you want all the colour to be picked up in the brush like that. And then give it a jolly good tap so any of the excess flakes come off. And then I'm going to apply it in big, sweeping, swirly motions and buff it into the skin. Now I'm going to pay particular attention to this bit of my face because it tends to be the part of my face that is the blotchiest. You'll also notice that I've got really dry lips, but we'll come on to that later. More of a swirl. I also only ever put a tiny bit of foundation on my forehead. My forehead tends to be the place that it gets eczema the easiest. It tends to come up in this area here, and it can get really flaky, so I go quite easy on my forehead. I do put a little bit on so that it's all even, but I don't start my buffing there so it has the kind of heaviest coverage. And I'm going to go over a couple of times. I don't want to have a really, really heavy coverage, but I do want my face to all be one shade, one tone. I actually love the feel of this brush on my skin. It's really, really soft. Okay, so that's my foundation. Now my lips have got a little bit dry, so I'm going to put a tiny bit of Vaseline on them now. It tends to be that when they're very, very dry and I'm doing the buffing and obviously I'm going over my lips, they tend to flake a bit, which isn't very attractive. So I'm going to put a little bit of Vaseline on them here, just to give them a bit of protection. So the next thing I would do is give my eyebrows a little brush. I'm very lazy about my eyebrows. I tend only to do any kind of plucking or any maintenance if there's a really straggly hair. And I do like to put a little bit of colour into them. For that I'm going to use this. It's Vital Radiance. It's a Revlon brow fill-in powder, and it's in number 02 Blonde. And it comes in 2 shades, one very, very blonde shade and one slightly taupier, minkier colour. And I'm going to use the lighter one today because it's the day. If it was the night, if I was doing a night look, I'd probably use the darker one. And it's got a nice little angled brush that it comes with and a little mirror. And I'm just going to fill in the areas that just need a little bit of help, but very, very lightly. I don't want to give myself any hard edges at all. I can find really strong brows, if they're not natural, if they're really, really drawn on, a little bit disconcerting. So there we go, just a little bit of help, especially in that area there and there. And I'm going to go over that with some clear definition. This is just clear mascara, and I like to put that on to set my brows. So I just put that on top of the powder. This is a fragrance-free one. It's obviously been checked by me to make sure it doesn't contain anything that's going to irritate my skin. And it's number 7. I think it was about £2. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my cheeks. And for that, I always use Inika. Inika is a vegan mineral makeup brand. They're fantastic for me because they don't use any of the ingredients that I'm allergic to, and specifically with blushes, I'm massively allergic to carmine, and it's in every blush from every cosmetics company, unless it's one of the vegan brands. And this colour is called Kiss Kiss, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's slightly shimmery, I'll show you. It's a dusky pink colour, and it's quite a strong pigment, so I only need the tiniest amount. So I'm actually going to just tip that upside down so that some gets into the lid. You see, that's actually too much, so I'm going to tap that in. You really only need that much because I just want to build this up. I don't want it to go on really, really strong. So again, same as with foundation, just gently swirl it around. This is an Inika blush brush. Swirling it around, give it a tap, and then I'm just going to sweep it under my cheeks onto the apples in a little C shape. And I'm being really, really, really gentle with this. I'm not pressing it at all because the colour will be all through and it's just broken. That's not a very good advertisement, is it? Okay, and a little bit more of a swirl for the other side. You see just a really, really, really gentle colour, giving me a little bit of something in my cheeks so I don't look too pale and interesting, as my mother would call it. Okay, that's that. And then finally, I'm going to curl my eyelashes. And these are just number 7 eyelash curlers. My eyelashes need a lot of help in the curling department, so I tend to press a couple of times on my way down the lash to give them some extra curl. Out there. I'm not actually going to wear any eyeshadow at all today. I'm just going to keep it really simple. Foundation, blush, mascara, eyebrows. And this is Almay. This is One Coat Triple Effect mascara. I was really, really upset when Boots and other chemists around the UK stopped selling Almay. It was one of the first hypoallergenic makeup brands when I was much younger that I could use most of their stuff, and you have to get it now in America, or you have to get it on Amazon. But this is really, really good, and I love the wand. It has its bristles just on one side. I find it really, really easy to apply. I'm just going to do my top lashes. I'm not going to do the bottom. If I was going for a really wide-eyed look and I'd done some sort of smoky eyeshadow, then I would add to the bottom. But today, for my everyday wearing it to work kind of look, I'm not going to do that. The eyelash colours make such a difference. Otherwise my eyelashes just stick straight out. Okay, and there we have it. This is my everyday winter 2012-13 look that I would wear every day to work, mostly using mineral makeup, and it's very, very simple.